Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or just simple old hello. And it's Lynn here from the Learn English Network again, speaking to you from, grey, miserable Germany. Are there any Germans out there? Is this winter worse than usual? I know it's not as cold as it can get, but it just seems to be so miserable this year. Maybe it's just me. So, we're going to kick off this week with a bit about French. People who are new to the network might have noticed that we've got a little conversation going on about French learning, and that's because quite a few people on the network are learning, the regulars on the network are actually learning French, including Amatsu, one of the moderators on the network. So I actually wrote, we need a French Learning Live Chat page. I'd be quite happy for it to go live on somewhere on the network if you want me to. I don't mind. So Alwyn replied, oh no. But maybe I speak French better than English. I studied it at school when I was young. Aha. Okay, so very good post, Alwyn, but French capitalised, English capitalised. And Zeb had to jump in, of course, saying, French as a language taught in school. This sounds good to me. When I was at school, we had to start a second language at about 11 or 12. Then 2 years after, we had to select a third one. The main choices for these languages on top of your mother tongue were English, German and Spanish. The brave ones could also take up Latin. I used to draw or practice writing with my left hand or do my math exercises during language classes. No regret. Okay, normally we'd say no regrets. Yeah, I don't regret doing this, but you'd say no regrets. And there's a lovely song. There's no regrets, no tears to cry. I don't want you back. Something like that. Alwyn then replied, said, English, German, Spanish and Latin? I think you were very busy when you went student. But you haven't time to play. Okay, so, Alwyn, I think you were very brave when you were a student. But you didn't have time to play, and that's a statement, really. Otherwise, if you wanted to make it a question, did you have any time to play? That's a very good question, actually, Alwyn. Today, I don't know if kids have enough time to play. They seem to be learning all the time. And don't forget, Alwyn, languages always have a capital letter. So English was perfect, but then German, capital G, Spanish, capital S, Latin, capital L, even though it's a dead language. Sorry, all those language studiers who have studied Latin. It is a dead language. Maybe revive it. Zeb then replied and said, actually I did English, Spanish and 1 year of Latin in junior school. To increase my playing time, I had to play truant. Bunking off lessons, very good idea. I think you learn a lot playing truant. Anyhow, then Zeb replied to my post about we need a French Learning Live Chat page. Looks like it. And I said about the films, I will point them out to Poetria too. She's learning French as well. And Amatsu said, point out what? This is me, not my alter ego. And we'll maybe understand that a bit later. I know what you're talking about, Amatsu. Nobody else did. Science popped in and said, French in action videos are a great educational series to start with. 52 episodes, lol. So, French in Action Videos is a great educational series to start with, okay, because it's a series, and so it's a great educational series, and he's put in a YouTube link. Are these good learning French videos? Said Seb at Science24. Any feedback about them? And Science replied, you are more qualified than me to evaluate them, so tell us what you think. And you, capital Y, Science. Zeb replied, I'm not learning French and I'm no teacher either. I'm not going to watch them. You could actually put a full stop there. I'm no teacher either. Full stop. I'm not going to watch them. And Amatsu went, eek, Science. 52 episodes is more than watching Breaking Bad. Lol. Thank you, though. And Science said 20 min for each one. They are very useful. Okay, so I think you meant 20 minutes, which if you wanted to do the short form would be MINS. So 20 minutes for each one. They are very useful. Anyways, you don't need to watch the whole series. Lol. So anyways is sort of dialect. People do say it, but only in certain parts of the UK. So anyway, you don't need to watch the whole series. Again, series with an S at the end. I don't know why, that's just what we do. Series is always in the plural form. Point what out, said Amatsu. But if you notice, there's an Amatsu on discuss with a capital A, and then there's a Amatsu with a small a. And Zeb replied to the small Amatsu, should we call her Mini Amatsu, maybe the list of French films posted earlier. BTW, which means by the way, Sarah has enjoyed Delicatessen. Okay, so really Sarah's watched the film, you know that, so you wouldn't say has enjoyed, you just say enjoyed, because she watched it in the past. Has been enjoying it so far, if she hadn't finished it, but she finished it, it was a couple of days ago she posted about it, so she enjoyed it. April too, said Zeb. I mean, April skips or doesn't see some messages on Discuss. She does, but you can't follow everything, really. You mean she's not perfect, said I. Sacre bleu! And I said nothing, replied Zeb. It's not me. Fingers crossed. I swear, April. Okay, fingers crossed is normally for luck. Okay? So, unless you cross your fingers behind your back, and that means you're actually lying, but you're negating the lie with this sort of lucky symbol. Okay, it's a very weird world out there of crossing fingers and sort of these signals that we make with our hands, but that's what you can do. I don't know if you meant fingers crossed as in I hope she doesn't read this, or fingers crossed as in I'm actually lying about this. I didn't say anything. I said nothing is okay. I didn't say anything is better. Okay, and it's not me, because you're talking about something you actually did do in the past. You'd say it wasn't me. Yeah, a big boy made me do it and ran away. It wasn't me, sir. So that was a bit of a confusing little conversation, but I kind of followed it, and partly it was my fault. Anyhow, after my listen to the recordings for corrections, we got a reply from Alwyn saying, this week I see than you post more parts than one. It's mean than we wrong a lot. Okay. So, what you wanted to say, I think, Alwyn, was this week I can see that you have posted more than one part. Okay. Does this mean that we were wrong a lot? Question mark. Okay, or it must mean that we were wrong a lot, or it must mean that we made a lot of mistakes would be better English. Okay, and I, capital I, I'm hoping this will get through to people's heads. They'll hear my voice going I, capital I. And I laughed at Alwyn because if you listen to the end, the second part, you'll hear what I thought about it being too long. And I'm delighted when it's too long, honestly. I replied, no, it means that you were very active, which is good. It also means I waffled on a bit, which is probably not so good. I try to keep on topic, but it's not easy. April replied to Alwind and said, do you mean that there are 2 recordings, or is it a long recording, Alwind? And Alwind replied to April, said, I don't know, April, but I guess that Lynn is going to post another one track. Okay, so I don't know April, and April is her name, so capital A, but I, capital I, guess that Lynn is going, G-O-I-N-G, to post another track. Not another one track, another track, or another one. You could end it like that, but another one track? Ooh, too much. One word too many. Okay, the other thing, Alwind, is you are saying than instead of that. Okay, a lot. So, than versus that, it's an important one to get. Okay? And I replied to Alwind, said, yes, I will, probably this weekend. As you know, it was yesterday. I just had a very busy weekend. Zeb also replied to Alwind and said, it may also be that Lynn chatted away more than usual while reading out our messages. Oh, caught out. By the way, what do you think of Lynn vocalising or say howling like a cat at the beginning of the recording? Charming. And Alwind said, thank you, Alwind. I think than Lynn is a good vocalist and her recordings chat are so funny and useful. So I think that. Okay, there you are. You're going at it again. That. I think that. This is bigger than that. Try learning that sentence. This is bigger than that. Or this elephant is bigger than that mouse. Try remembering that sentence, and then you'll get than and that you've got a what we call fossilized mistake buried in your brain, Alwind. So, Zeb replied to Alwind, I don't have a good ear and can't say if she was howling or actually singing. Maybe we should ask her to vocalise a bit longer in the next recording. What do you think we ask her? What do you think we should ask her? Okay. I then replied to Zeb, unfortunately my howling has to be short or I'll have copyright lawyers on my tail. Howling wolf's lawyers, maybe. And Zeb quite accurately replied, bummer. That's it about my singing. Actually, if you'd been in Friday's TGIF, you'd have heard April and I singing, and a couple of other people as well. Oh, who was singing? I can't remember. But a few of us were singing. It was really nice. I loved it. So, Rima then came along, and Rima said, hi teacher, I need recordings to improve my English speaking. Okay, can recordings improve your English speaking? Actually, speaking improves your English speaking. But if you listen to the recordings and repeat what I said, yeah, that might help. Why not? And I just replied, have you listened to the previous recordings, and gave a link to the playlist in YouTube. There are quite a few, so you will have to scroll down a bit to find the latest ones. Okay, so Rima, just one thing, just one comma after hi teacher, okay, and a full stop at the end of your sentence. Okay, so then let's scroll up a bit. Oh, quite a long way. And April jumped in, and obviously April had noticed that we've been talking about her. We're not talking behind your back though, April. It's a very open public platform to talk about people on, so you always we're not sort of gossiping. April went, okay guys, you have been talking a lot about me. Okay, that's okay, but it would be better to say, okay guys, you've been talking about me a lot. Now my defence. So you can say that, or you could say now in my defence. Okay. And then here I'd use a colon, okay, because you're then going to expand on your defence. Okay, so a colon, and then you can start talking about what your defence is. Zeb, that's true that discuss and live chat, and now I have to add Hangouts too in the list. They all drive me crazy sometimes. Okay, so what you'd say is, Zeb, it's true that, not that's true that, it's true that, because it's an actual fact, okay? It's true that discuss and live chat, comma, and now I have to add Hangouts too, and now I have to add Hangouts to, and now I have to add Hangouts to the list, all drive me crazy sometimes. And then, by the way, have you seen that Amatsu has... Oh, the Amatsu 2 has double identities here. Okay, again, 2... No, not really. Have you seen that Amatsu has double identities here too? Okay. Like what happened to me a while ago. And that's a statement, so just a full stop. Or is it only me who sees double? Question mark. Very good. You can also say, is it only me who's seeing double? I hope Amatsu will skip this comment of mine, otherwise she will be upset. Oh, it takes more than that to upset Amatsu, I tell you. An answer to your post, Lynn. My name is April Sis and not your teacher, so I don't have to be perfect. Lol. Teachers don't have to be perfect either. Students expect teachers to be perfect, but it's really not a good state of mind to be in, because nobody's perfect, so you're just heading for disappointment every single time. I'd much prefer not being perfect and saying when I don't know something, because I'm not Google. I'm just me. Anyhow, and you know why I changed back to your teacher, because Lynn was confusing people who didn't know who I am, so your teacher gives them this sense of, this is the person who's going to help us. So maybe Lynn Hand should be synonymous with your teacher, but it's not. Zeb replied to April, Amatsu with 2 identities. Yes, I've noticed it. Okay, I noticed it. Or yes, I have noticed, or yes, I noticed it. And then capital I, because you ended with a full stop. It just means that Amatsu has got 2 accounts on Discuss. I prefer the one with an avatar picture. Teachers have to be perfect, April? Gee, might be the reason why I usually don't like teachers. Amatsu then must have had her ears burning. Okay, when somebody's being thought about, we often say, were your ears burning? We were talking about you, or I was thinking about you. So her ears must have been burning, and she jumped in and said, Zeb and April, I didn't even know I had two identities until Lynn pointed it out. So here you just needed a comma. I didn't know I had two identities until Lynn pointed it out! Exclamation mark. Anyway, I think I've worked it out now and will be using Chico as my account. Zeb replied, good choice. Chico looks healthier than the grey avatar ersatz. Yeah, those grey avatars aren't good looking, are they? They don't represent you very well as a person, especially not a Matsu, because I much prefer it when people add just any old picture. And you can go to avatar creation places if you don't want a photograph of yourself. I mean, I use my photo, but in some places, and I use this cartoon in others. I use another cartoon in still others. It's something you can play with and have fun with. Science then replied to Zeb, I usually don't like teachers. What were you saying, Zeb? Edit your comment before Lynn will read it. Okay, edit your comment before Lynn reads it. Okay. Or maybe Lynn might read it. You'd better edit your comment. You told us that you don't like to risk, but you are risking now. Ah, okay. You told us that you don't like to take risks, but you are taking a risk now. Anyway, if I will be a teacher in the future, I would not be perfect at all. Okay, so here you wanted to say, I think, anyway, if I were to become a teacher in the future, I would not be perfect at all. Okay, and future, F-U-T-U-R-E, otherwise it looks like footer, and I don't think that's actually a word in English. I then replied, and I jumped to Zeb's defence. In Zeb's defence, I said, she always warns me when I get too teachery, and she did write usually, so I will clasp to the hope that I'm not usual. Science replied to me and said, did you read what she said? I mean what I said, lol. And what do you mean? Said Zeb. I mean what you meant, said Science. Nope, I mean what I said, and I don't feel bad about it. It's no secret either. What kind of risk are you talking about? Science then said, I'm afraid of telling you that. I wouldn't dare. May I borrow some of your bravery? Lol. And you wrote braveness in brackets there, but bravery is correct, by the way. Zeb replied, I understand that there might be a lot of pressure in the teaching world you live in for you not to dare expressing yourself about the teaching world. Science replied, not at all, but you shouldn't do it online. It will be recorded. Don't forget that. Have you foreseen any problem with my message being recorded? Said Zeb. Which one? I usually don't like teachers, said Science. Oh dear. Okay, so I don't mind if people don't like teachers. I don't mind if people don't like me. You can't like everything and everybody. That's the truth. I just prefer it if people don't like me personally. They leave me alone and go and find somebody they do like. And I can only presume that because Zeb and Science are both hanging around a bit, they actually don't mind me. They can tolerate me at least. That's all we can hope for in life, isn't it? A bit of tolerance. Anyhow, April jumped in and, going back to this double identity thing, replied to Zeb, how come did I have so many problems when I had two identities in Discuss, Zeb? So, how come I had so many problems when I had two identities in Discuss, Zeb? Okay, I also don't believe in absolute perfectionism. 10 is never my favourite number. But Zeb, you are kind of perfect. You always have an answer for any question. Zeb replied, bad digital vibes? I played for a long time, a question and answer game on the forum. Okay, so I played the question and answer game on the forum for a long time. And April replied, you could be a good quiz player then, Zeb. I often feel unsure to give an answer, and I can kill myself when I find out that I have the right answer. Ah, okay. I often feel too unsure to answer. Okay, I often feel too unsure to answer, and then I feel like killing myself when I found out that I had the right answer. Okay, I know what you mean, April. Yes, it's like, rather than saying I feel like killing myself, that's a bit extreme and it can make people a bit shocked. You could say I feel like kicking myself, and we often say that when we're annoyed at something we've done or didn't do in this case, and you say, oh, I could have kicked myself or I felt like kicking myself when I said that or when I didn't say that. Okay, and then you should be self-confident, April. and said science. You should be more self-confident, April. You could have said science, and capital Y for you, because it's the beginning of the sentence, and a full stop at the end, and sent a little YouTube video for her to watch. I had had my self-confidence today on TGIF science, but you just destroyed it, said April. So, I had my self-confidence on today on TGIF. Ooh. I would say here. It's not wrong, but it's a bit clunky. Maybe I was feeling self-confident today on TGIF science, but you destroyed it. And Science replied, really, April? I am so sorry for that. It was a joke when you asked me for the singer badge, and I told you that Lynn deserves it more than you. That's all. Zeb came in. I think Zeb was a bit confused and went, makes me want to hear you vocalising, Science. Shattering people's confidence is no good for a future teacher, Science. Time to change style? And Science replied, you're right, Zeb, but self-confident people are more difficult to destroy, aren't they? Why want to destroy, said Zeb. So, not why want to destroy. Why would you want to destroy them, is what you maybe were trying to say. Science then said, I want to listen to Lynn's voice. She was really amazing. Why didn't you join us there? There on Fridays TGIF, answered Zeb. I just can't make it. Fridays, 4 p.m. CET, Central European Time, is still working time for me. Yeah, it's a problem, isn't it? My knowledge is too shallow, and I don't know many trivia to be a good quiz player. Okay, so my knowledge is too shallow, and I don't know much trivia to be a good quiz player. Quiz, Q-U-I-Z, just one Z. Okay, and trivia is uncountable. It's like information, so much trivia. But of course, this shouldn't prevent me from participating. I don't need to have a right answer for taking part. Do you agree? So, after quiz player, you could have put in a comma and then said, but of course this shouldn't prevent me from participating, and then a full stop, because it's a new sentence after that. I don't need to have the right answer to take part. Do you agree? That's perfect, okay? I agree, said April, but I prefer to participate in a quiz for dummy. Okay. So here you could say, I agree, but I would prefer to participate in a quiz for dummies. Okay, not a quiz for dummy, a quiz for dummies. There's a whole series of dummies books out there, you know. There's probably is quizzing for dummies somewhere. Zeb went, okay, there is a quiz platform in Lynn's Kitely world. Maybe we could organise a quiz show for dummies. Okay, so quiz, Q-U-I-Z. Otherwise I sound like a bee. And Kitely is the name of the platform, so it's capital K, it's a proper noun. Who's in? Said Zeb. April replied, I'm in, but could it be on another day than Thursday? But could it be on a different day to Thursday? But could it be on another day, not Thursdays? Lots of ways to say that, okay? Yes, it could be any other day, said Zeb. Science replied and said, I'll be there. And it makes two people willing to participate. Oh, lovely. Participate. P-A-R-T-I-C-I-P-A-T-E. We have to spread the word about it to see if more English learners would like to join in. April and Science, could you see if on the LEG Plus community and forum some other people would be interested in a quiz for dummies show? Science then replied and said, let's give it a go, and then we will invite more if it goes well. It depends how you will feel after you lose it. Oh, that was a question, was it? Okay. Does it depend on how you will feel after you lose? Question mark. Or it depends how you feel after you lose. Full stop. Okay. Who said I'd enter the game to be number one? Said Zeb. Could be an outcome, but maybe I'll just want to take part for the fun I'll have. Oh, got you. Could be an outcome, but maybe, so comma there, just to help me out when I'm reading. Could be an outcome, comma, but maybe I'll just want to take part for the fun I'll have. Science then said, you're clever enough to get the first place, even for fun. Just try it. Clever enough? Is it an insult or a compliment? Said Zeb. Science then said, it's not an insult or a compliment as well. Any of them. Okay. It's not an insult or a compliment either. Either of them. Okay. So as well, it's not this and it's not that either. It is this and it is that as well. Okay. There's one that's inclusive and one that's in the negative. It is the reality. Okay, it is reality. You don't need a the. Reality is reality. And can there only be one? Oh, let's not get into that. But generally you just say reality. It's my reality, you could say. It is reality. You will be the first one, even if you don't take it seriously. Okay? A reality. How do you know? We hardly know each other. So again, you wouldn't really use the article there unless you were having a very deep philosophical discussion. Just reality? How do you know? We hardly know each other. For scientists, replied Science, 20 min of discussion is enough to discover the other's personalities. Okay, 20 mins of discussion is enough to discover someone else's personality. So pay attention to who you are talking with. Just one exclamation mark. LOL, I'll just be myself, said Zeb. Best way, Zeb. Honestly, just be yourself. And science, I don't believe you. I don't believe scientists have any better way of understanding other people than the rest of us. Sorry, I'll have to disagree there. I might disagree in person. I'll jump into that conversation. Then the power. I got the power. Anyway, came in and said hi. And Zeb went, hi, the power. What a name. April couldn't resist and said, I wonder what is the story behind that name. Okay, so I wonder what the story behind that name is. And Zeb went, when I read it, I thought the power of what? Of love? The power of love. Of nightmares? Of the Daleks? All good ones. The power to be silent, said April. So far it could fit, but I don't think the power would agree. And Science said, Allo the power. You have 2 missed calls from April and Zeb. Allo, allo? Allo? No, it's normally hello or hi. unless you're doing some strange French TV show called Allo, allo. Don't watch it, it's embarrassing. The accents are atrocious. Zeb, you'd love it. And any Germans out there, oh dear, terrible. The Madonna with the big boobies. Sorry, I digress again. I'm going to run out of time if I don't stop. That's me slapping myself. Me too. I have many missed calls on my voicemail, but I don't always feel like calling back. Sometimes I do, though, because I want to. Exactly, the power. If you don't want to reply, you don't have to. It's about free will here. Although we do like to bully people into sometimes replying, but there's no saying. He's off on another part of the interwebby thing, having fun, I hope. Going, hi, 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 hi. So, Zeb then came in and fascinating thing that I never knew even existed, posted about the job of Park Seo-young is to eat in front of the camera of her computer at home, and thousands of people watch her over the internet. She earns more than $9,000 a month doing this. A short video about it, and she puts in a link to the video. Would you do the same job? I just had to jump in here. Great share, Zeb. I wouldn't do the job, but then again, no one would pay to watch me eat. I don't want to be judgy, but let's face it, she's very pretty. Some people might be genuinely interested in the cuisine, but I bet there's not many. It's voyeurism, pure and simple. That said, no one's forcing her to do it, and no one is forcing anyone to watch, so it's none of my beeswax. And Zeb replied, I watched this video no long after I read about the Minnesota starvation experiment, and it's puzzled me. Okay, not long, I think you meant. Not long after I read about the Minnesota starvation experiment, and it's puzzled me, or it puzzled me. In the video, they say that people enjoy watching the show when they can't eat that much. In the Minnesota starvation experiment, Marshall Sutton, who took part as one of the 36 volunteers to starve for 6 months, so you'd say to starve for 6 months, said that to cope with hunger, some of them were reading cookbook all the time. Okay, some of them were reading cookbooks all the time, or cookery books, you could say. Himself, he took his girlfriend to a restaurant to watch her eating. So you don't need himself, or you could say as for himself, he took his girlfriend is one word, hello girlfriend, not girlfriend, to a restaurant to watch her eating. And if it was just a friend who happened to be a girl, you just say he took his friend to a restaurant to watch her eating. And that her tells us it was a friend who was a girl. Girlfriend implies some kind of relationship, okay? So, and there's a link to the experiment, which is also a very good read. And a quote from Zeb. There were some in the experiment who lingered over that food for 20 minutes. I couldn't take that. Some fellows were reading cookbooks all the time. I wanted to take her to a restaurant just to enjoy seeing her eat. But when the waiter came up with the food, she just couldn't do it. I was a bit disturbed by it. I'd spent all that money on a big meal, and she just couldn't eat it. And then Zeb put, watching people eating might not be just voyeurism. Yeah, but it's really weird, isn't it? If you have to watch somebody else to eat to get a satisfaction of... I don't know, is that healthy? I'd rather go and spend that time. If I didn't have enough food to eat, I wouldn't watch someone else eating. I'd spend that time going out and trying to find some food to eat. I wonder if she ever gives anybody some food. That would be nice, wouldn't it? I think what she should do to make me more comfortable about it is occasionally invite one of her watchers, her regulars, to come and eat with her. I'd be very worried if I lived in a country where people were forced to watch me eat in order to get some kind of satisfaction of food. Weird. That's all I can say. People are strange. And Science then said, wow, $9,000, how lucky she is. Isn't it funny? You put the dollar sign at something and that's what people notice. $9,000? Bloody hell, I'm in the wrong job. I don't like to eat online, even if they will pay me for that. Okay, I wouldn't like to eat online, even if they were willing to pay me to do it, okay? By the way, she's very slim, despite the huge amount of food she eats. Want to know the secret? Are you starting a dieting website, Science? Zeb replied, I don't think that she's lucky. I think she made her on luck. Okay, I think that she made her own luck. Her secret for her fitness trait, maybe it is that she doesn't lick the plates. They say in the video that people enjoy watching the show. A person also said that it feels eating alone less awkward. It's comforting for people eating alone. Would you enjoy watching a show like this, Science? And then Science comes back again, dollar signs in front of his eyes. $9,000 for only eating online for me is the perfect luck, isn't it? Okay, $9,000 for just eating online, to me that is perfect luck, isn't it? I don't think if I will enjoy such TV shows. Very boring. Okay, I don't think I would enjoy such TV shows. Exclamation mark is fine, but just the one. And then capital V for very, very boring, or it looks very boring. And again, exclamation mark fine, but just the one. She started doing it as a hobby, said Zeb, and it seemed to bring some money in. She quit a job, has a consultant firm to do it as a full-time job. Okay, I think you mean here she quit a job as a consultant, or she quit a job in a consultant firm to do it as a full-time job. It's not what I call, as you said, perfect luck. Okay, and then Amatsu came into Science. And Amatsu just spotted do you know what the secret to not getting fat is? And said, go on, Science, how? And Science then said, it all depends on a slow, fast, lazy, active metabolism. Okay, and it, capital I. What's an active metabolism? Said Zeb. Metabolism is the process in which your body converts what you eat and drink into energy, replied Science. Each time you eat, enzymes in your body's cells break down the food and turn it into energy that keeps your heart beating, your mind thinking, and so on. The faster your metabolism runs, the more calories you burn. Is it possible, said Zeb, to change how fast or slow your metabolism works? To some degree, said Science, our metabolism is determined by gender and genetics, but there's still plenty of wiggle room. I love that, wiggle room. Well done, Science. For example, so here you could put a comma and then for example. 1. Eat a good breakfast. If you don't, your body goes into starvation mode, so your metabolism slows to a crawl to conserve energy. 2. Have proteins for lunch. Protein helps build and maintain lean muscle mass. Muscle burns more calories than fat does, even at rest. 3. Green tea. It contains a plant compound called ECGC, which promotes fat burning. And 4. And your favourite topic agging. Lol. Okay. 4, and your favourite, with an E on the end, and in British spelling it would be F-A-V-O-U-R-I-T-E, in American spelling F-A-V-O-R-I-T-E, aging, A-G-E-I-N-G. So when you get a decade older, your metabolism slows by about 5%. Hormones play a role, but mostly it's because as you get older you typically become less active. As a result, you lose muscle mass, a major consumer of all those calories you scarf down. Scarf down. Oh, wonderful. So by the time you hit 35, you'll burn 75 fewer calories a day than you did at 25. By age 65, you'll burn 500 fewer. Bad news for you. Lol. I take it you're not that old, Si. Anyhow, then Zeb came back and said, I got to know someone with a fast metabolism long time ago. Okay, so it's always a long time ago. It's incredible how hard it was for him. For breakfast he had to drink a special mixture with eggs, eat again something mid-morning, and his lunch tray was always the double of us. Okay, if it was the double of us it looked like you, so what you could say, for breakfast he had to drink a special mixture with eggs, then eat something again mid-morning, then comma, and his lunch tray always had twice as much food as ours did. He couldn't put on weight at all and had to be careful not to miss a meal. As for me and my relatively slow metabolism, I don't worry much. I'm quite active. How active are you, Science? Science hasn't replied to that one yet, so... yes, age and inactivity, they are dreadful. But as you might have noticed, we are running out of time, and there are a couple more messages to read out, which I will probably do later today because I won't have time later this week. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this part of it, and keep an eye open for the other part because it's about Chinese New Year and about the quiz on Kitely, so it's all good. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. And just remember, get out there yourselves and come and join us on live chat or find another chat about a topic that you're interested in and be active. Yeah, don't just consume English, create it. Yeah. So thank you to everybody who took part in this week's live chat. Without you, I'd have nothing to record, would I? It's all good. Take care and speak to you later. Bye.